Welcome. My name's Michelle Borio. I'm an artist and an educator. And in collaboration with Brand Art Center's 2021 annual art exhibition, we're going to be making some art of our own at home. So for this project, we're going to be using photography and some things we have around our own space to create our own personal still lives. So throughout art history, still lifes have been used, especially in painting, to show something about the person who, owns the objects, or the artist, or sometimes to tell a story. So let's look at one or two still lives ourselves from some different famous paintings. Like this painting, Still Life with Imaginary View by Laurens Crane, or maybe Laurens Crayon, a Dutch painter from about 1645. So let's start by taking about 30 seconds, not even a whole minute, just 30 seconds, to look really closely at this painting, to examine it and see what you notice, and maybe what stands out to you. All right, ready? Go. Okay, so what kind of things did you notice? Especially like what kind of food and objects do you see on the table? Can you guess by looking at them what kind of person might have owned these objects? So judging by some of the fancy metal dishes and glass and the kinds of food in this painting, especially like the shellfish and the lemons and other fruit that might have been hard to find back in for Dutch people back in the 1600s. This makes me think that maybe the people who commissioned this painting and own these objects were very wealthy or very fancy people. Also, just kind of looks like a very fancy meal to me. Got a lot of seafood and fresh fruit. Okay, so did that stand out to you, or did something else? Was there something else that you noticed? And one thing I can tell you too is that often in still life painting and art history, especially Dutch still life painting, these kind of pieces of art were used to show off the wealth and the status of the artist patron, which means the people or person who commissioned the painting. So yeah, maybe, if you're a very fancy Dutch person back in the day, you wanted to show off all of the cool foods you can eat and your cool silverware by having an artist immortalize them in paint. All right, we're going to check out a whole nother piece of art by an artist in a very different time and place. Okay, this painting is called Cooking with Bacon, and it's by an artist named Ana Valdez, who's still making art today. So this painting should look very different than what we just saw, but it's still art about still life. Again, let's take 30 seconds just to look, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what we're seeing. All right, so what kind of objects did you notice in the still life, and what things stood out to you about the painting? So kind of comparing this to the painting we just saw by Laurens Crayon, do you think that this is more of someone's day-to-day life, or is it also something fancy? One of the things that stood out to me after I heard the title, Cooking with Bacon, was I noticed that Mastering the Art of French Cooking book on the right-hand side. But I also noticed some things that remind me of my own house, like the quilts and blankets, or houseplants in their colorful potted, jars and pots. So we can kind of compare these two and see maybe what does still life look like in contemporary life. One other thing I wanted to notice was the difference in colors between the two paintings. For instance, in this painting by Ana Valdez, the colors are very different than the painting we just saw. And so part of that is because modern paint technology, the way people make paints, has been able to produce way more colors than were ever available back when Lawrence Crayon was painting, or back in the 1600s. So the kind of colors that you can see in this painting, all the bright oranges and pinks and blues, would have been very hard to make back in the day. All right, now that we've seen some still life art of our own, let's try making our own still lives, some still lives that will reflect your own life and what's important to you. All right, I'm going to switch back to showing you some of my own objects too. Okay, are you guys ready to make your own still lives? So for us, we are going to probably want some kind of camera or phone or anything that takes pictures, and some objects from around your space. So which objects is really up to you. So what we're hoping to do is we're going to create a still life that says something about your personality or tells a story about you. So that means what objects are in the still life are really, really up to you, and really what's going to make this still life work. So for me, I've got a different arrangement of things here for a couple different reasons. I've got one of my houseplants because I love to garden and try and have a lot of plants in my space. I've got a coffee mug and some fun lights. And one of my metal objects that I've used in painting or in my classes sometimes, as well as some rocks that I usually keep out in the planters. And even maybe an old sheet or a box, mostly to help me make some different levels or make some different textures in my still life. So you can play around with what's going to be the most fun for your tableau. And so when I say tableau, if that's not a word you've heard before or heard used with art, a tableau usually means something like a scene or a setup. So a lot of times, all your arrangement of your still life might also be called a tableau. Okay, I'm going to play around with this and try and set up something that looks fun to me. You all are welcome to do the same or create your still life once the video is all done. All right, what if I create something with a couple levels? And there we go. Oops. Okay. What? Oh, maybe I'll make it look like I've got something very fun and magical going inside my mug too. Maybe I get to drink something cool. Okay. I'll play with some fun rocks. And a shell from a trip to the ocean. Where does that go?
maybe back here. Okay, so once you have your still life arranged how you would like, you know, and feel free to play around with that, try different ways of putting things together or seeing, you know, is your still life neat because you're a very neat person? Or do you have kind of like a creative, chaotic kind of still life? It's entirely up to you. So once you've got everything arranged how you would like it, use your phone or your camera or whatever you've got to take photos with to play around with taking some different images of your still life too. Try and see, maybe are there some different angles or different ways to show your still life? Is it out in the sun and very well lit, or is it dark and scary and dramatic? All right. I hope you have fun creating your own personal still lives. I definitely had fun making art with you all, and I will hope to make more art with you later.